Hi, it's Dawn from Ninja Bunny Crochet. Today I have for us to do this interesting stitch called the double loop stitch. I find this to be, it's not as difficult as it looks. I mean, it looks like a very complicated stitch, but it's really not as difficult as it looks. I have a tutorial on my channel using this stitch, making a Swiffer sweeper cover. You could also use this to make a dust cloth. You could use it to make maybe a baby sweater. I wouldn't necessarily, like maybe a toddler sweater. I wouldn't necessarily make it for an infant. You could use it to make a bag, maybe possibly a blanket, but not necessarily for a baby. I would be more concerned that a baby would get their fingers or their toes caught in the loops. But you could use it for a lot of different stitches, a lot of different projects. Definitely for like stuffed toys, for like the hair on a stuffed toy, like for a little stuffed lion or something like that. But let's grab our hooks and grab our yarn and let's start making the loop stitch. For today's tutorial, I'm going to be using a J or 6.0 millimeter hook and some worsted weight yarn. It doesn't matter what size hook you use or what size yarn, as long as your hook and your yarn match. I'll be starting with a chain of 21. For the double loop stitch, it doesn't matter how many chains you start with. It is not specific to the number of chains. So for your foundation row, you're going to start with a row of single crochet. So we're going to start second chain from hook. I usually like to flip my chain over and work in the back bars of the chain because I believe it gives you a better finish. So we're going to go second chain from hook, 1, 2, and start with a single crochet. So work one single crochet in each chain all the way down your chain till you get to the end of the chain. And I will meet back up with you at the end of the chain. I'm at the end of row 1. To start row 2, we're going to chain up 1 and turn the work. In the first stitch, we're going to place a single crochet. In our second stitch, we're going to start the double loop stitch. And to start that, we're going to take our working yarn and wrap it around our finger 3 times. Make sure you leave some slack there. Insert your hook into the stitch. Now normally when we yarn over, we go over the hook with our working yarn. In this stitch, we're going to put our hook over the yarn. Then we're going to insert it into the 3 loops on our finger, draw those loops into the stitch, drop the loops, hold them down, yarn over your hook, and draw through all 4 loops on your hook. Give those loops a little tug, and then you're ready to do your next stitch. Again, wrap your yarn 3 times around your finger, your working yarn. Make sure you leave a little bit of slack. Insert your hook into your next stitch. Hook over the yarn into the loops on your finger. Make sure you have a little bit of slack. Draw them into the stitch. Drop the loops. Hold them down. Yarn over the hook. Draw through all 4 loops on the hook. Give those loops a little bit of a tug, and you're ready to do your next stitch. Again, wrap your yarn 3 times. Make sure you have a little bit of slack. Insert into the stitch. Yarn over the hook, or hook over the yarn, excuse me. Insert into the 3 loops on your finger. Draw through the stitch. drop the loops, hold them down, yarn over the hook, draw through those all 4 loops on the hook. Give it a little tug. One more time. Wrap your yarn 3 times around your finger, insert into the stitch, hook over the yarn, insert into the 3 loops on your hook, on your finger, excuse me, draw through the stitch, drop the loops, yarn over the hook, draw through all 4 loops. And then you have the loops are left on the other side of the work. Please continue this all the way down till you get to the second to the last stitch. When you get down to the second to the last stitch, this will be a loop stitch. Your very last stitch will be a single crochet. I'll meet back up with you at the end of this row. I'm at the end of the row. I put my single crochet in the last stitch. To start row 3, we're going to chain 1 and turn the work. Now, don't be worried if it's starting to curl a little bit on you. That is kind of the nature of the stitch. It will straighten out after you get a couple of rows on. So this is the front of your work. It has your loops on it. Now to start row 3, we're going to do a single crochet in each stitch all the way back down. So just place 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way down. So we're going all the way across the row, placing 1 single crochet. So please continue this and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the row. I'm at the end of row 3, and as you can see, it's already starting to lay a little bit flat now at the end of row 3. So to start row 4, we're going to chain up 1 and turn the work. Now this is going to be our next loop stitch row. So we're going to single crochet in the first stitch. So our first stitch and our last stitch is always a regular single crochet. So wrap your yarn 3 times around your finger, insert into the stitch, hook over the yarn, into the 3 loops on your finger, draw into the stitch, drop the loops, yarn over the hook, draw through all 4 loops, give that little loop a tug, and you're ready to go for the next stitch. Wrap your yarn 3 times, insert into the stitch, yarn over the hook, draw it through all 3 loops on your finger, draw into the stitch, drop the loops, hold them down, yarn over the hook, draw through all 4 loops on your hook. Give them a little tug. I'll show it to you one more time. Wrap 3 times around your finger, insert into the stitch, yarn over the hook, or hook over the yarn, however you want to word that, into that stitch. Now see, I got that a little bit tight, so I'm having a little trouble, so I got to give myself a little bit of slack. Draw it in, drop the loops, yarn over, and draw through. So you got to be careful not to get tight when you're like that, because that will give you an issue. So wrap it around 3 times, insert into the stitch, over the working yarn, hook over the yarn, into the loops on your finger, make sure you have that slack, draw it in, drop the loops, yarn over the hook, and draw through. Once you get the hang of this stitch, it actually goes along fairly quick. And this is what your loops will look like on this side. on the right side. So continue working the loop stitch, and I'll meet back up with you at the end of the row. I'm at the end of the row, and this is what the wrong side of your work will look like, and this is what the right side of your work will look like with your loops. So if you've liked this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that bell so you won't miss any of my tutorials. Thanks for watching, and happy crocheting! Bye-bye!